So you're thinking about moving to Blaine, Washington, and you find yourself wondering about the good and the not so good associated with life in Blaine. Well, in this video, we're going to talk through the pros and cons of life in this area to help you better understand if it might be the right spot for you. We're going to get started right now. First on our list, pro number one of life in Blaine, Washington has got to be the proximity to Canada. Now, we oftentimes have people relocating to Whatcom County from out of the area that have some sort of connection to Canada. Maybe they have family that's there, maybe they're going to be going to school there. And we've talked about this in other videos. You know, whether you're a citizen of the US or a citizen of Canada can impact the number of days, the amount of time that you can spend on either side of the border. And for these reasons and many more, sometimes people will live in one country while commuting regularly to the other. So if you're thinking about being close to Canada, either for family, for work, for school, if you're thinking about being close to Canada just for the access to the many amazing amenities that are available to us right across the border in British Columbia, well then Blaine is a fantastic location, one that's going to make that commute very easy. If you're not familiar with the Nexus Pass, that's something that can help you to expedite your travel time across the border. Think about it a lot like TSA pre-check at the airport if you're familiar with that. So if you are going to be commuting regularly, it's great to get your Nexus Pass to be able to travel across the border quickly and easily, despite some of the long lines that you might find otherwise. But pro number one on my list for Blaine, Washington is its proximity to Canada. Number two on our list of pros for Blaine, Washington is its small town charm. Now, Blaine is home to approximately 6,500 some odd people. You go south down I-5 to Bellingham, where the population is roughly 90,000, and you've got Whatcom County as a whole with a population somewhere around 230,000 people. Of course, this number is always a moving target, but those are rough numbers and relatively accurate. Now, with a population size below 7,000 people, you can imagine that it's likely that you're going to run into people that you know on a regular basis. Blaine is kind of unique in the way that it's spread out. You've got Blaine proper and kind of the core downtown area adjacent to that, some of the older neighborhoods in Blaine. You've also got the Semiahmoo area, which is surrounding the Semiahmoo Golf Course. It has the Semiahmoo Resort out at the end of a mile-long peninsula. You've also got Birch Bay, which is oftentimes referred to as kind of its own town, but Birch Bay is technically a part of Blaine. Regardless of where you live, again, it's a small town, it's relaxed, it's got a great community feel to it. So number two on the list is the small town feel and vibe associated with the city of Blaine. Number three on our list of pros is outdoor recreation. Now, one of the first things that I think about when I think about Blaine, Washington is access to the water. We've got two marinas located in Blaine. You have the Blaine Marina as well as the Semiahmoo Marina, and there's a variety of other ways that you can get access to the water if you're just going out for, paddleboarding, kayaking, perhaps in the Birch Bay area. Tons of opportunities for you to get out on the water. Of course, boating, crabbing, fishing are all activities that are abundant in the Blaine area. If you're looking at golf, there's two golf courses, the Semiahmoo course, which is membership based, as well as Loomis Trail Golf Course that are there in Blaine, and then there's a variety of other courses that are available to you throughout the county. If you like to be out to walk, to bike, to jog, you've got miles and miles of both paved and gravel trails throughout the Semiahmoo area, in the Birch Bay area. Of course, the older neighborhoods in Blaine have sidewalks, so a lot of opportunities to get out, be on your feet or on a bike. If you're looking for other types of recreation, if you want to go mountain biking, for example, you're going to head down to Bellingham to head to Galbraith Mountain, perhaps down to Sudden Valley or the Chuckanut Trail system, also affording you great opportunities for hiking and trail running in those areas as well. And then of course, we've got Mount Baker more or less in our backyard for great winter sports, skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and great hiking and camping opportunities in the summer. So whether you live in Blaine or somewhere else in the county, there's a tremendous amount of outdoor recreation opportunities available to you here in the surrounding area. Number four on our list of pros is going to be home affordability. Now, this is all relative, of course, but at the time of filming this video, October 2024, the median sales price of a home in the Bellingham area is hovering right around $700,000, whereas the median sales price for a home in Blaine, Washington is hovering right around $650,000. So this is, of course, medians, averages. As we start to get into more niche segments of the market, if you're looking specifically for a water view or waterfront property in Blaine, well then of course your price is likely to exceed that of the median sales price in Bellingham. But the key takeaway from this segment of the video is that your dollar will go a bit further in the Blaine area than it will in Bellingham and some of the other parts of the county. All right, so number 5 on my list is a growing small business scene. Now, one such small business that I will highlight in this video is that of Drayton Harbor Oysters. Now, Drayton Harbor Oysters has their oyster farm, as the name would indicate, inside of Drayton Harbor, and then their restaurant there in Blaine proper, the downtown area. Over this past weekend, Drayton Harbor Oysters hosted their 3rd annual Oyster Fest, and I saw a Facebook post earlier today that they had shucked 8,800 oysters over the course of that one-day event. They blocked off a couple sections of the street immediately in front of the restaurant and had a phenomenal turnout from the community for this particular event. So much like Drayton Harbor Oysters, there are other small businesses that are rapidly growing in Blaine. If you're someone who appreciates small business, who would rather patron a mom and pop as opposed to a chain or a conglomerate, got a small business yourself, or you're thinking about starting one, well, Blaine is a great spot to consider. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, we encourage you to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, as well as to download our free relocation guide, which you can find at the link on the screen or down below. My name is Jeff Ingen. I'm with MJB Real Estate Group here in Bellingham, and every day we get calls, texts, and emails from people like you considering a move to this area, and we absolutely love it. So we want to encourage you to use the contact information you can find for us below. Reach out. We would love to be of help to you in any way that we can, but for now, let's get back to talking about life in Blaine, Washington. All right, so moving on to our list of cons, number 1 on my list has got to be the limited job opportunities that are available in Blaine. And it just kind of goes without saying that when you have a population size less than 7,000 permanent full-time residents, many of which are of retirement age, that there is not going to be a lot of job opportunities for you in that local market. The good news is that the distance from Blaine to Bellingham, for example, on I-5 is relatively short. You can actually make that drive because it's mostly freeway in less than 30 minutes. So it is very feasible for you to live in the Blaine area and commute to somewhere else in the county to go to work. As we talked about, number 1 on the list, that proximity to Canada. There are, of course, people who are living in Blaine and making the drive, the commute to Canada on a daily basis. So there are going to be job opportunities for you both north and south depending on your citizenship. But right in Blaine proper, there are going to be a limited number of jobs compared to other areas. Number 2 on the list will come as no surprise as a result of number 1 with the fewer employment opportunities is that of fewer entertainment opportunities, right? So when we're just dealing with this smaller population size, one of the things that we're going to find is that there's not going to be a tremendous amount in the way of entertainment opportunities immediately in Blaine. There are some bars and restaurants. There's a place called The Vault, which is a wine bar that has live music, I think most weekends and maybe even sometimes during the week. That's a great spot to check out. Someplace I've gone to see some really talented musicians play. But if you're looking for an opportunity to go to the movies, go to a concert, go to a sporting event, well, then you're going to travel either to Bellingham, up to Vancouver, maybe all the way down to Seattle, depending on the type of event that you're hoping to experience. But based on population size, again, you are going to have fewer and further entertainment opportunities than you would in some other areas. Number 3 on our list, if you watched any of my videos talking about life in the Pacific Northwest, is going to be that of the weather. Now, I'll preface this by saying that the weather that we're talking about is really in the fall and winter months. The weather in Blaine, in Bellingham, and the surrounding areas during the summer months is absolutely phenomenal. We've got super long days. The sun comes up at 5-something in the morning, goes down at nearly 10 p.m. We have relatively mild climate and mild temperatures ranging with highs in the mid to upper 70s into the low 80s. And then as we transition into the winter months, of course, the days get shorter, the clouds get more common, and we do deal with a fair amount of precipitation. In the winter months, we can anticipate that temperatures during the day are going to be in the 40s and 50s, and that the coldest parts of the winter will be down, of course, in the 30s and 40s. We do see a little bit of snow accumulation. We do see quite a bit of precipitation. It's the total accumulation of rain is not all that different than the national average, but what we do see is that in the Blaine area, in the Bellingham area, in the Pacific Northwest as a whole, we tend to experience more of a drizzle than a downpour, and so that amount of rain, again, not all that different than what you would see nationally, is spread out over a longer period of time. That is one of the big things that people complain about in the Pacific Northwest are the winters with the short days, the gray skies, and the frequency of rain. So it is something that you need to be prepared for. I always encourage people to plan a sun-filled vacation sometime between November and February, and hopefully that will help tide you over until the sun starts to come out again with more consistency. Number 4 on our list of cons is going to be tourist traffic and just general border issues issues that you might experience in Blaine. So with the Peace Arch crossing, the Pacific Highway crossing, going immediately through Blaine, there are going to be times that things get super backed up, and oftentimes that will cause people who would otherwise get in line and wait, that might divert them to Blaine to go ahead and wait it out while having a meal, while doing some shopping, rather than just sitting in their car and dealing with the long border lineup. So it is something that you need to be prepared for. It is something that can have an occasional impact on your travel in and out of the area. Number 4 on the list, border and tourist traffic. Last on our list, number 5, when it comes to cons of life in Blaine, Washington, is going to be limited access to healthcare in the immediate area. There's a lot of people who are considering Blaine, Semiahmoo, Birch Bay as prospective retirement destinations, and often in that age demographic with retirement, there are concerns about increased need of medical access, medical care. And so I will set the expectation that if you're living in the Blaine area, there are of course a handful of doctor and dental offices that are located in Blaine proper, but if you're needing any sort of specialized care, any sort of emergency care, well then you are likely traveling to Bellingham, or perhaps even a bit further down to the Seattle area. I will say that Peace Health in Bellingham, St. Joseph's Hospital, it's a phenomenal facility that's growing quickly and rapidly, expanding their scope of service. They're bringing on additional practitioners. So there is fantastic medical care that's here in the area, but it is going to require that you travel 20, 30, some odd minutes to access. So if you have increased health concerns and you need regular services that you would like those to be close by, well then another part of Whatcom County might be better considered than Blaine. Hey, as always, I hope that this video has been helpful to you, and encourage you one last time to like and subscribe to keep up on all the content that we're releasing about Blaine, about Bellingham, and all the things that are going on here in the area. I do encourage you one last time to download that free relocation guide. Again, no strings attached, to help you continue to explore and consider this area, find out if it might be the right fit for you. If you have any questions or you have any experiences here in the Blaine area that you would like to ask or share, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. But for now, thanks again for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.